All right. What is up, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about The Amazing Race, Episode 6. Only an hour, but damn, there was a lot of backstabbing in this episode. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah. All I could say is that this episode is totally going to create tons of chaos later on.
And typically, it
And
had to be with it had to be with Jessica and Cody this episode. Had to be with Jessica and Cody.
yeah. Well, we should probably kick off where it started off. So, what started this was the fact that they told us pretty much from the get-go there's a double U-turn. And there were two flights that everyone was able to book everything on. And everyone from the first flight decided they're not going to use the double U-turn. Everyone from the second flight,
Well, yeah,
well,
but you also forgot that the flight from the first one, there was only four teams, and then it was the last three teams from the last episode that
got the
had the
second
second
flight.
flight, which was an hour later.
Yeah.
So they had a huge disadvantage. An hour from like not getting to the right like spot on time is fucking. It really messed everyone up except for um not the no the firefighters were on the first flight, right?
Yes, the firefighters were on the first flight because they did.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So all three teams, like the three teams from the second flight, all got like last anyway. So yeah, of course that was gonna work out the way it was. But
Yeah, and you know what? I've been saying with the firefighters every single week they've been disappointing me. For the first time, they didn't disappoint me.
well, I know I was
I'm
when I
actually
was
proud of
watching
them.
it, and when I was watching it, I saw like them doing their little confessionals. They're like, yeah, we're always like last. We're always not doing good. Like we finally saw them like evolve and like actually do good. They were the only ones to actually like really get like the the verbal quiz thing that they had to do. Like that was like a big thing for them, like to get that, and the other teams doing like the getting the kegs and making sure that foam was two fingers foam. It's crazy.
Let's.
Hey, Paul.
Wow, that was quick. What's up, Paul?
That
And
was quick.
Paul.
We're talking about right
I just
after
realized
the flight.
we didn't even do the intro. We just jumped right into the show.
They all know
so-
us. Come on.
Bringing you the latest on the Amazing Race 30. Okay.
We know. Okay, let's go back to the recap. Okay,
I'm Dave. That's Chris.
So-
Paul. Cool.
great.
You guys
That's
are nothing
Paul.
without me.
Shut
So,
up, Paul.
did you take? Wait,
We're
Paul.
just
Did you
really
take
excited.
notes?
Yeah, of course I took notes.
Okay, good. Then you can talk about where they are.
Sure. They are in Prague, which is in
Prague.
the Czech Republic. You guys forgot where they were? Jesus Christ. Okay, so
I didn't forget what they were. But we didn't even get there yet. It was just initial thoughts.
Patty says hi.
Hey, Patty, how's everything? Okay. So yeah, they're going to Prague. It's not that far of a journey from France, which they were. They took a plane. Thinking about it now, it would be a relatively short flight. If you think about France, France is right on the border of Germany, and the Czech Republic is right next to Germany on the east. And Prague is like right in like the middle of it. So it probably wasn't that long of a flight. What's interesting about the way it was broken down is that they had two different flights. One left an hour later than the
We
other
talked
one.
about this. We talked about it. Yeah.
So
We talked
let's
about how there was four teams. There was four teams in the first flight, three teams in the second flight.
Yep.
Did you break down
That's
who those
literally
teams
what we were up to.
Yeah, Team
No, we
Indy.
didn't.
Well, the last flight. Let's just talk about the last fight. It was Jessica and Cody, the violinist, and Team IndyCar. They got last in the previous challenge, and then the four other teams were on the first flight, and they did pretty well.
What's particularly interesting about this is that they know that a double U-turn is coming. A U-turn basically means that if there's two options, you have to do both, which makes it really difficult because it's and you can use it as like a
It
strategy.
takes way
on
more
another-
time.
Yeah, well, that's naturally the conclusion. So
Yep.
when the first team, I mean, when the first group of people come in from the first flight, were you guys surprised that none of them did a U-turn?
No,
No, I wasn't. It actually made total sense for them not to do it because they basically left the option, and they didn't want any. Oh my God, I'm getting tongue twisted. None of those teams, like from the first flight, wanted any bad blood on their hands, which is totally fine, totally understandable. Each one of them already had an hour in advantage on the other teams. The second leg of teams, like from the second flight, they needed it. And as we
Well,
saw through
really-
this episode,
well-
Justin Cody needed it. They would have been out without it. Let's be honest.
Well, Team IndyCar decided not to do it. They were actually nice enough to be like, no, like we're not going to do this because we don't want to put any bad blood in our hands.
Yeah,
And I think
it's
I
understandable.
understand that. I understand that this was a good move for Jessica and Cody, clearly, because if they didn't do it, they would have gotten voted out this episode
Yeah,
or whatever.
Well, not voted out, but
You know what I'm saying? Got out. Yeah,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying. They would have gotten out, but I still think it's gonna. Can I talk? I still think it's a pretty shitty and shady move on their part because it's gonna look really bad when they have to work together on like what other teams and stuff like that. And Jessica, this entire episode was just very shady. Even when she was doing like the phone challenge, like she was being really shady with everyone, and she just doesn't get along with the other teams. Like she get maybe like I know Paul, you were talking about how they get along with Team Yell. Like that's probably the only team that Jessica and Cody get along with is Team Yell, is because Team Yell probably doesn't really connect with too many of the other teams either.
Well, the whole thing with Jessica doing that in the first place, I mean, it wasn't. The thing you got to keep in mind, and I think Brittany summed it up like well in like one of the confessionals, is that they're all friendly. You know, like all the teams are friendly with each other. They all get along. But what Jessica did was strictly all for gameplay. I mean, using the W turn, that's part of the game. They needed that. If they didn't do it, they wouldn't have survived. Jessica doing that whole thing first, I understand it, but that's a bad social move for later on down the line. Just literally, she did that. She did that just to run out of the location first. You know what I mean? Like it didn't give her that much of an advantage.
I agree that the U-turn was a good move on her part because obviously it saved her, but I don't think like her telling them like the wrong information to Team IndyCar and Lucas and Brittany, is that who they are? Lucas and Brittany, right? Correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought that was really.
I mean, it was an unnecessary move because, like I said, all she did was like I understand her move. Like I don't want these teams getting my hard work, but at the same time, they did get her hard work, and on top of that, like all she got to do was like run out of the place further. It didn't do much for them.
Right.
All it's gonna do is it's gonna hurt their social game further down.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about Henry and Evan this episode. I feel like there was a lot of like bickering between the two of them. It seems like they had something that was like agreed upon like structure of how they were going to do the race, and Evan got mad at like Henry for like wanting to call like a cab or something. What do you guys think of that? I mean, I feel it was a little uncharacteristic of that team.
Of Evan, mostly just Evan. I feel like Henry's just kind of like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. Henry was more of he didn't really care. I don't know.
Uncharacteristic is the perfect word for it because I mean, they are the team that I would expect the least to fight.
All right, guys, our connection's bad apparently, so the live video isn't really working.
Well, it goes in and out. Hold on.
It's totally
no, it's
fine
working
on my
now.
end.
I see it. Yeah, I see it now. It's like
It's pausing for me, and it's pausing for the people that are watching.
well, we can't do anything about it. So let's just keep going because.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Team Yale is I think they're just really cranky. It seemed like a lot of people in this episode were just very cranky, to be honest.
There was a lot of arguing. I remember IndyCar was arguing at one point. But before we get to all the specific scenarios, because most of that was at the end of the episode, which makes sense because you're trying to find your way and the pressure is really on. Let's talk about this or that challenge. I thought this was rather interesting because it didn't really specify anything specific when it comes to what they were doing. It was just okay. One of you is doing this, one of you is doing that, and it's just like completely randomized.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of bullshit. Honestly, that it was like that.
You know,
it wasn't really fair. It wasn't really fair because like, what if you got the wrong, like the one that just didn't like work well? Like, you know what I mean? Like, think about like the. What challenge was it?
Which one are you referring to that doesn't work well? The Galileo one?
The verbal challenge.
The lecture?
Was the worst one. The lecture one. Because it had so much memory into it. You know what I mean?
You have a good. It really what I liked about these two challenges is that they were both challenging, but the point is that the lecture hall one, that was like, it really just went on whether or not how well you could remember things in the first place. But in general, it just didn't seem to click with any of the teams.
Well, yeah, basically.
Paul, is
Well,
everything okay on your end?
Yeah, everything's good. Why?
I don't know. You look a little puzzled.
No, I'm
It
just
looks good on
wondering.
my end. It looks good on my end. I see it.
I'm just wondering why the video is not working for anybody. It's a little whatever.
It's
all
working on my end. It's fine.
Good for you. Okay, well, it's of course it's working on your end. You're running it, so it should be working on your end.
Do you want to reset?
I don't know.
No, we're not resetting. We're not resetting. We're already on this. So
All right, we're not resetting. All right, so I mean, you can say what you want about the lecture being difficult on being all about memorization, but the violinists went through that like really quickly. Like the firefighters basically were the ones that had the most trouble with this, and it was like, okay. And then Lucas and Brittany obviously decided to make a tactful move and to switch to the beer, or well, they didn't know what they were switching to at the time. They were switching to this. It's kind of funny, but it's like, yeah, well, we're gonna switch, but we don't know what we're switching to.
They just knew that. Well, I feel like at this point, like they could figure out like one of the challenges are always like intellectual, another one's physical. So I figured that, they figured the other one was maybe physical, is what I'm thinking.
yeah, but this, out of all the other challenges, though, I feel like this mental one was the hardest one out of like the other ones that they had to do, because like there was so much information that they were just getting at one time that like the questions are random too. It's not like they could just like go and answer one question and then like save that question for later on and go to another one. Like it was it was like a trial and error type of thing.
Well, some of the questions weren't too hard. Like some of that stuff you could have gone in already knowing. Like what do they say was the second furthest from the sun? That's something you can probably guess was Jupiter at the time. And
well, not everyone's like you, Paul. Not everyone's gonna know what all that stuff is.
Well, I think like people like the violinists are probably people that could have known some of that beforehand.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
I mean, like look at what the firefighter said. Second planet closest from the sun. They said Pluto. Like,
yeah,
come on.
It's not even a planet.
Well, I don't know. That changes like every week at this rate. Pluto being a planet feels like it changes every week.
Basically.
Fair
I don't
enough.
know.
But the fact that they even gave that answer was ridiculous.
No, just the fact that they got so much information at one time was like, honestly, it was Lucas and Brittany were just like Lucas was like,
I think they made the right choice. I think if firefighters switched, that probably would have been better for them. But they got second, so who are we to really judge?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it could have looked like it took a long time. Maybe it didn't take them that long of a time. Who knows?
Patty says the video is doing okay now, so that's good.
okay, see, no problem here. Everything's fine.
Let's talk a little bit about the beer. Do you guys know the proper way to pour beer? Like you do it like on a curve, and then you go.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I did the Distant College program. It's actually kind of fun that you mentioned that. So like what we had to do was we had to like actually like pour beer and stuff like that, and some of them are from cans, some of them are from bottles, whatever. It doesn't even matter. But it's pretty. It's kind of annoying to do, but after a few tries, it's just like it's just the way that you tilt it. Honestly, like if you tilt it like really like low, and then you kind of work your way up, you can get the foam at a proper like level. It's not that hard. So when I saw Jessica have like the thing was like the foam was like a foam full. Like, girl, what are you doing?
I just love how she's tried taking the foam out like with her bare hands. I'm like, I
thought Cody would have done that. I thought Cody would have known how to pour a beer. He seems like he would, but I don't know.
Yeah, he seems like he would, but I don't know. I guess
just that
not.
was so funny. Like it's like
I just watching that was just like it was just ridiculous. But
Christy and Jen, they're doing very well, and they got through that first part very quickly. They said they worked at a brewery. One of them said they have experience in that, and one says she drinks beer a lot. So experience
it seemed to help today.
In that end of it, which is fun. I think it took them 2 tries maybe, and they were really close the first time. And I remember like right when they were giving it in the first time, and they were like, "Oh crap! I thought it was 2 fingers." It's like they knew. So they seem like they're so well rounded as a team, and they keep doing well in these races. Obviously, they get first place today. It's not their first. It's not their first.
Yeah.
But
the point is, like,
what do you guys make?
I don't know. I'm just a little surprised. Like I'm surprised about how well they're doing, but like you said, like they're well rounded and like they're proving themselves to be better.
Wait, Dave, why are you? Wait, I don't understand why you're surprised that they've done well. They've been doing well like every episode. Like they've never got like fifth. Like
I think my problem is that I'm too focused on other teams like Henry and Evan and Jessica and Cody for like teams that I want to see. You know what I mean? Like I think I'm seeing what I want to see, and like now it's like, oh, there's something else here that is going over my head because I'm paying more attention to the other teams, if you know what I mean.
And there's less teams, so they get a lot of other teams get more airtime. And Paul, we were talking about this in the beginning of the episode that the firefighters are actually getting a lot more airtime, and now they're self-aware that they have been doing pretty poorly.
That's what you missed, Paul. I actually said for the first time this week that they didn't disappoint me.
Wow, and that's big for you, Dave. I know that because you're really rooting for them, like because you I know you expected a lot from them based on their progression. So I mean, they're doing well, and some of that was attributed to them being on the first flight. Other parts were attributed to them making a tactical move to work with Yale on the last challenge, which I think was very good I thought was a very good move. But let's talk a little bit about after the beer challenge and after the astronomy lesson. They had to go to like this beer bath place. I thought that was pretty bizarre. I've never heard of this before. You just see like the short guy with the beard, and they showed like so many clips of him just washing himself. I was like, okay, that's fun.
What was just like weird about it was like, all they had to do was just find the location. Once they found the location, it's not like they had to say anything. It was like, hey, I'm here. Give me a clue.
Did anybody else, I want the viewers or whoever's watching did anyone else realize when the firefighters were in there that on the bottom, on the lower thirds, it said Henry and Evan? Did anyone else notice that?
Oh, no, that was an editing error.
Editor messed up.
I guess they're not all perfect.
Evan twice. I see what you did there.
Wow.
I was like, damn, this like you're talking about CBS. Come on, CBS, get it right. No, I know they're not that relevant, but come on.
Well, the main networks get things wrong all the time. It's all right. It happens sometimes.
It's not a big deal.
I noticed. I noticed it.
It is a big deal because we can call them out on it.
It's big enough. I mean, you're going to school for video editing, so like I understand.
And I just took a fucking editing class today. But go on.
So I want to talk about one team that couldn't really make it to first part, the boat, when they had to deliver the keg. Lucas and Brittany, they got lost for I believe the show said over an hour, which basically took away that hour advantage they had on the flight from the next 3 teams, which is fairly interesting in my opinion. And
interesting, because they were on that second flight, they might have not made it.
Yeah, and then they were arguing about who had the clue, and it was, I mean, I know it's a high stress situation.
Husband and wife.
You were just engaged 24 hours ago. Like, relax, guys. Like, deep breaths. I mean, I think they would work better if they just relax a little bit more.
Well, they're on a high stress game show, Paul. Like, what are you talking about?
I know, but some of them are more relaxed about it. Like Alex, like
Henry and Evan. Evan, they're so relaxed.
I guess Alex is trying to fight a little bit today too, but those are more light jabs than anything.
Yeah, no, like they needed to chill out, and then once they started to calm down, they did find the location. Again, we know it's high stress, but like you said, like there's other teams that aren't like flipping out that much.
Yeah, like let's take the firefighters for instance. They're not flipping out like at all.
Well, that's because they had no personality.
I'm not going to deny that.
I was waiting for someone to argue with me. But, like, they're tacit. They don't talk that much. I mean, they worked well with Evan this episode.
That's-
But I mean, overall, I just wasn't. I'm not feeling their. I don't know what they are.
That is their
I
personality.
mean, that's another thing I expect with. That's another thing I expect with their occupation, though, to like be in high. They're probably in higher stress situations than this. This is like nothing in terms of stress level for them, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean, their next challenge, the roadblock, it's very unique. This challenge, it's a room full of phones, and Christy and Jen are the first people to get there, and Jen's the one that's doing it, right?
I think
I
so.
believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so she goes in there and she's picking up the phones and the size of the room. How many phones do you guys think was in there altogether?
100.
Oh, yeah, over 100 easily.
Yeah, way over 100. I would say like 300 maybe, just based on the
That's why I
size of
said
the room.
over 100 could also be 300.
Over 200, over 250 could also be 300. Anyway, so yeah, there's
Whatever.
so many phones. It's just a very unique challenge, and they had to spell. They had to find
Well, they
8
didn't have to
words.
spell. They had to find words. Yeah.
Yeah, not spell. My bad. My mistake. And they had to make out the word. The meaning of life is that it stops. Deep thoughts.
Ooh. Just typical Kafka. That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I studied enough of that guy in college. I'm sick of him already.
Chris, thoughts?
I don't care.
The meaning of life is that it stops.
I don't
I
care.
think that's-
Moving on.
I think
What
that's
is
very
that?
deep.
Okay, whatever. Yeah. What
All
does
right,
that have to do
fine.
with the competition? Like,
All right, fine. We're not jumping into metaphysics for like 5
fuck
minutes.
no. Let's get on with the race.
Yeah,
I know a
on
lot
with
of
the
people
amazing
don't like
race. All right.
metaphysics. All right. Anyway,
It's interesting, honestly. I
Um,
like it, but I don't want to talk about it now.
sure. So yeah, Christy and Jen, they're the first team out of there. Henry and Evan, and the firefighters, they get there, and the firefighters work with Yale to kind of make the time a little more efficient for the two of them. And they get the word, and they get it, and the firefighters get second. Team Yale gets third. Fourth, fifth, and sixth place are kind of, it's more of a toss up there.
Yep.
So they were all in that last roadblock together. Team IndyCar, Team Big Brother, and Team Firefighter. Not firefighter, lifeguard. And they're all giving their word at the end. And this is where the strategy really comes to play here. Or people overthinking generally. Like normally we see this kind of overthinking in games like Survivor and Big Brother, where you just overthink something that someone says, and then it like leads to like some false conclusion or some untrue conclusion. That when Jessica finishes and she gets it right, she tells the other two teams what the answer is, and then Brittany somehow misconstrues what she says and thinks that she gave them the wrong answer, which she didn't, which is kind of
She did
interesting.
give the wrong answer. She did give
No. She gave them the wrong clues, but then after Jessica got the correct answer, she then gave them the correct answer. Brittany, not inclined to trust Jessica anymore, assumed that correct answer was wrong.
I don't know. I have to watch it over again
Is
because
that what it was? I'm not exactly sure. Let me know in the chat.
Team IndyCar also said the same thing, that they gave them and Brittany the wrong clues.
That's true, because
Right,
Jessica
so-
did. Jessica gave them false clues saying, I got the words, but she's like, I didn't want them to get my hard work. So
Right.
it was like reverse, psychology type of thing. But the whole point was that her whole goal was just to get out of there first. Her goal wasn't to confuse them afterwards. Brittany just took it as she's still lying to me, because Brittany's holding a grudge over the gnome.
That's interesting. I mean, if I was Jessica, I wouldn't have told them the answer at all.
Really? I
Yeah,
think
but-
that's pretty bad. I think
Yeah,
that's.
I don't care.
I know you don't care because
It's
you're
still a
not
game.
completing it. It's
Yeah.
a game.
But that's the
yeah.
whole thing. That's
But
what that's
I know.
that's what Jessica. But that's what Jessica and Cody said. They're like, we have to do what we have to do to survive this. I mean, it's not personal. It's
you'd
just
fuck-
like, hey, this is what we got to do.
you'd fuck over two teams when you have to verse them the next round, and they knew that the violinists were not gonna. They had a gut feeling that the violinists were probably not going to make it far. So what's the point of fucking over two teams when you can actually get them on your side? Like, I feel like they
Because
already
that's
screwed
the-
over.
But that's the trick with it. She didn't totally screw them over. All like I said, that's what I said like earlier. She just wanted to run out of the broom faster, and it didn't really help them that much. But the whole point is, she still gave them the correct answer. It's just that she gave it to them in her own way.
But the other two teams know that though. They know that Jessica was giving the wrong information to them, so it's not.
They
good
do.
on Jessica's
So it's not good on her part because the reactions that we saw, but it'll still depend. You know what I mean? Like they could be like, well, she gave us the right answer, she gave it to us in the wrong way. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean?
It's still
It's like
negative.
a double-edged sword in a way. Not a double negative. There's a positive and a negative there. Positive being she gave them the correct answer. Negative how she gave it to them. So
Maybe they shouldn't. Maybe the best scenario would have been them not working together at all. Then, because if the net is a negative on Jessica's part, who had more of the words than it seemed like Brittany did at the time, or maybe they had a similar amount. Maybe it made more sense to just say, okay, gonna stick it alone here.
I think the word was life. I think the word. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the word life that like Jessica said. It wasn't. It was life though, right? What was the phrase again?
the meaning of life is that it stops.
Right. She said something else. It wasn't life. She said another word.
She said
I
this.
think
She said this. I think.
this or something like that. And I think
Yeah.
the word was wrong, and that's why they didn't trust her. That's why they both like Team IndyCar and Lucas and Brittany were like, yeah, this is not cool.
And that's the problem with it, because it's like you shouldn't trust her, but then they kind of needed her, and then she's still getting the right answer at the end. So the point is, ultimately, both teams aren't happy about this, and if there's another roadblock on the way, or I'm sorry, another U-turn on the way, they want to throw it at them. They want to throw it at Justin Cody.
Right.
Because
Do they
Cody,
though? Do they though? I mean,
Yes.
when you
Yeah.
think
Brittany
about the
does.
performance,
Brittany said that she wants to do that. She knows that they're going to do that. Team IndyCar isn't really decided.
I think Team IndyCar is
Brittany-
I think Team IndyCar is onto them. But I'm sorry, go Paul. Go Paul.
Brittany
IndyCar is
and
onto them.
Lucas. Brittany and Lucas aren't very strategic players from what I see. If their plan is to be
100%.
petty, and use a U-turn on Justin Cody, who have not been performing well in the last few races. If the real strategy here would be to use it either on first place Christy and Jen, or like teams that have been doing relatively well that a U-turn can maybe have more of an effect on. I'm not sure a U-turn would could stop Christy and Jen because they just do so well every time. But maybe like Team IndyCar, for instance, typically does pretty decent in the race, or Team Yale, for instance. So I would say probably between Team Yale and Team Extreme are the two teams that I would likely use it on, because they do very well.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Okay.
it'll depend as well. I mean, you're right. Lucas and Brittany are more emotional players. I mean, they're also more emotional with each other. So that's why I don't think Team IndyCar is decided. Team IndyCar is smart enough to know we can't trust Team Big Brother, but Team Ocean Rescue is like, well, we just want revenge.
Pat in the chat says Justin Cody don't care. They are used to people against them.
Well, I mean, that's kind of dumb. I think that's stupid. I think that's stupid, because think about it. You're gonna need with these twists and with these new twists. Like this is a new show. This is a new platform that they can actually start getting teams to trust them, because you need teams to trust them. Look what just happened right now. You had Evan working with one of the firefighters, and guess what happened? They got third and they got fourth. So
second and third, Chris.
Second and third, whatever. I don't care about specifics. The point of it is that they think that it's just them two and no one else. But it is kind of like a team sport. They have to start getting along with everyone else. Otherwise, it's going to screw them over. Bottom line, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, but you know what? At the same time, if they could just race better than everybody else, it won't matter. But
well, it's not helping.
That's not how it works. I mean, you even look at the thing for next episode. It looks like they're switching partners for this.
They are switching partners.
Race.
I'm thinking, but now my assumption is that they're just switching for this leg of the race. That's what I'm thinking.
Right, but what happens to the team that goes home?
That's what I said. Ooh, I don't get that
That's
either.
Well, that's what we'll find out. I mean, they said this is a first, so we'll find out how this works next week. And another thing, though, just the Jessica and Cody thing, just to add into that, it also shows that, like, Cody even said, he's like, I'm not afraid to take the first punch, you know? And that's what they did this week. Jess and Cody were the first ones to use the advantage, and even, like, the whole thing that Jessica did. So, point being, they're not afraid to start getting bad blood on their hands, which is reminiscent of exactly what happened in Big Brother. Cody was the first HOH. He immediately started causing chaos. I don't think that they learned that this is gonna I don't think this is gonna pay off for them in the end.
Okay, so let's talk about team violinist. And
Poor guy. I feel so bad for them.
Yeah, I mean they were pretty screwed over with.
They were already last place before, if I'm correct, right? They started off last place.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. They did because
they were second to last from Team Trump.
Yeah, because of the bull thing. Good times.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
But they did really well, I think, or I feel this episode. Like, what do you guys think? It took them only 2 tries as opposed to the firefighters 9 or 10 tries to get through the astronomy. Go ahead, Dave.
No. I was saying, I think it was even more than 10 tries, but whatever.
Maybe so. And yeah, I feel like they just got a bad rap. But I feel that once they got to the phones at the end, like it was pretty evident that they lost. Like it didn't matter what happened. They probably showed it as being closer than it was in the actual episode.
Yeah, of course, that's exactly what they did. Because when you see it edited together, you see Jessica and Cody run. Congrats, Jessica and Cody, you got a 6th place or whatever. And then you see Team Wellstrong go to the platform, but you don't see Jessica and Cody, which means Jessica and Cody probably left like a while ago. And it's just, we know how this works. We know how the show edits the stuff together to make it more dramatic. Like Jessica and Cody, like, oh my God, like they gave us the wrong direction to the park. Oh, like give me a break. Like we all know.
It can't all be like the first episode at the end where the teams
Right.
are literally like racing each other, which was
and like they have to that was awesome. Like because you actually had to see, they had to go to the photo and look and see who crossed over fast enough.
First time in Amazing Race history.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. Listen, guys, I would not be surprised if Jessica and Cody weren't even really lost. And after they got to the platform, they were like, okay, we're going to do a couple of takes here of you guys pretending like you're in the park and you guys don't know where you're going. That would not fucking surprise the shit out of me. It is a show, and they have to get conflict between the last 2 people getting to the spots. But overall, though, I don't even think they had to do that because they overshot where they got off with the taxi.
Yeah,
but you don't know. It's just the way they edited it together. I just don't see Jessica and Cody being that stupid. I'm sorry.
I like to reiterate Chris just came from his editing class.
I know. I have it all fresh in my mind now, so just gotta point that out.
Everything's fake.
I just came from my leadership course. Anyway,
this whole show is scripted.
All right. Anyway, so let's jump into the. Well, I guess we're basically done here.
Pretty much. Team Wellstrong got screwed over. The only thing, like we said earlier, and a couple times throughout this whole thing, if Jess and Cody did not use the W turn, they would have got eliminated this week.
I thought you were gonna say Hex for a second. I was like, no.
Okay, you need to sleep.
Imagine she takes the book out of nowhere and she's like, I'm using the whole
Okay, so once again, they got an item on the show that allowed them to stay another week.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, yes.
Patty says they're switching partners for a challenge, not a whole leg. All right, that's not that bad. That's not as bad as we originally thought. Because I thought the switching partners thing would be cool, because then one person from each team would go home and they'd be forced to work with the other player. That means that would be good TV.
See, what I want to see happen was them switch for the entire leg, and then they switch for the entire leg, but both members of each team have to be there.
Right. Oh, yeah, that makes sense too. Oh god,
Yeah,
that's
like
tough.
you'd switch like with like like let's say like Team Yale would swap partners with the the firefighters.
That's probably what it'll. That's
both
probably
those
what
teams
will. That's probably how
happen
it will
on season
happen in the
31.
challenge. That's probably how it will happen in the challenge because it's whoever finishes
True.
the challenge first, then they have to wait for their teammate. That's
True,
a good,
but if that's the case, then season 31, I gave you an idea. CBS, do it.
Hey. All right, so we'll end it there. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like our videos, support our content, a link to our Patreon is down below. If Chris put it there, if not, I'll put it there. Right?
I did put it there. I put it there.
Okay, then good. Link to our Patreon is down below.
And if you can't do Patreon, don't forget to like, subscribe.
Yep.
And
also
thank you
like
to
us.
Patty. Thanks to Patty for being a Patreon. We really appreciate your support.
Patron.
Patron,
Sure.
Chris. Patron.
Whatever.
Right,
Patreon's the website.
Until next time, guys.
Peace.
Peace.